Hey, and welcome to the Chef's Table, a weekly video series for culinary entrepreneurs who want to monetize their skills outside of the kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Evelyn. This is the place for successful women who want to live, cook, and work on their own terms. So if that's you, let's get started. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the Chef's Table. It's your girl, Chef Evelyn. And today I wanted to do a different type of video. But before I get into that, if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you enjoy this video. And if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. I hope that you have been finding this series helpful. So like I said, if you're new, we are in a series, and I think is this gonna be the last video in this particular series? We are in a series all about building a high-end culinary brand, right? Which is like my favorite thing to talk about, is how to build a high-end culinary brand. And so if you have missed any episode in this particular series, make sure you check out the playlist that this video is in and make sure you get all caught up. Like, pop a bag of popcorn and just have a marathon watch through, kind of like you would on Netflix, and get all this good training. And make sure you subscribe and turn your notifications on so that as we get ready for our next series and our next episodes, you don't miss out on these weekly trainings that I share with you. So in today's video, I thought I would kind of just walk you through my journey to building a high-end culinary brand. I know I've talked about why this is your year to build a high-end culinary brand. Is the high-end culinary brand a good fit for you? The mindset shift you need to have, the questions you need to ask yourself, you know, the recipe, the formula, all of that to a high-end culinary brand. I kind of want to walk you through my journey to a high-end culinary brand because I didn't start that way. And before we get into that, if you have not joined the Chefpreneur Society, I love that name, make sure you go to chefevelyn.com/society so you can join the community of other women chefpreneurs growing their culinary brands. And listen, I'm excited for the high-end culinary brand multi-day intensive that's coming up. Like I said, I'm taking a small to medium-sized group of entrepreneurs who are ready to go to the next level. They're ready to go high-end in their culinary brand. Super excited about that. So with that being said, let's just kind of walk through it. So there's no like particular bullet points today. I do have my notes here just to jog my memory, right? Because it's been quite a journey. And for those of you, like I said, if you're new here, I do create notes because even though I want to share with you my journey through a high-end culinary brand, I hope that you still can extract some value out of that and that you find it useful. So let's see here. I mean, I really don't need the notes because it's my life story, but you know, I ramble, and this video could end up easily being 35 minutes, and I don't want that. So I mean, I will say this. I started my first food business when I was 15 selling cakes. And I think I was selling my pound cakes for $25 each, right? And it all happened because, and I think I've told this story before, that my grandmother was an amazing cook. I mean, she was an amazing cook. And for my 15th birthday, she asked me what I wanted her to make me for my birthday. So I was like, ooh, make this. And you know, one of my favorite desserts in the whole world is apple pie. I know, basic, but I love it. Apple pie a la mode, it's just a whole moment. And so I was like, ooh, grandma, can you make me an apple pie, right? So she was like, yeah, sure. So, you know, the time comes around, and so she makes me this amazing meal, and then she makes me this apple pie. And I'm looking at the apple pie, and I'm just like, ooh, okay. And I go to eat the apple pie, and y'all, the apple pie is so bad. Like, it's so terrible that I was confused. I was in shock. I was like, how is this possible? This woman is the best cook I know. She sells her dinners in the neighborhood, right? Like, I don't understand how this is a thing. So I didn't have the heart to tell my granny, may she rest in peace, that her apple pie was terrible. So that's when I first started being like, okay, I'm gonna do desserts. And long story short on that part, I ended up making this pound cake that my mother and her sisters used to make when they were younger. And then I started selling it. I started selling it to people in my church. I ended up selling several cakes to the Chiefs football team. They were having a golf tournament. And that's when I was like, ooh, okay, my cooking skills are getting me around certain people. And so I sold that cake for years. But I soon realized, like, $25 a pop, by the time I went to the store and got the ingredients and did all that, like I really wasn't making a lot of money, right? So, but over the years, you know, people still ask me to bake a cake here and there, and I would, right? But I realized like this is not a sustainable business model. So I tried to add more desserts and do all that, and it just didn't work. So, you know, was in corporate America and decided I was going to start my business. I was going to go to culinary school. I was going to do all this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be, you know, a personal chef, because I don't want to work in restaurants and I don't want to work in hotels, because I don't want to do 80, 90 hours a week. You know, I'm not fresh out of high school or fresh out of college, you know, like I'm a fully grown adult. So I have a certain standard of living. I have expenses, right? Like that route was not going to work for me. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to be a personal chef. Well, went to be a personal chef and started booking clients. And I very soon realized that like, oh, once I got fully booked, my income level was going to be tapped. Like I'm the kind of person that it doesn't take me multiple data points to kind of see a trend. So I saw very quickly, I was like, oh, wait a minute. If I'm doing one client every 2 weeks and I have 10 clients, that's a month. I have no more room for income growth or potential, and I'll be capped. And that was one of the things I didn't like in corporate America. Like I couldn't move as fast as I wanted to move. So I was like, well, that's not going to work. So I get into catering. Well, I live in Texas, okay? And literally catering in August in legit 110 degree weather was not for me. I'm just going to tell you. I mean, do I look like the kind of person who wants to be schlepping around hot boxes in 110 degree weather? I think not. Okay, so did that for a while and I was like, okay, that's not gonna work. So at this point I was discouraged, because I was like, well, I don't want to own a restaurant, right? One, I didn't have the capital and I didn't want that lifestyle. And I was like, I don't want to go work for somebody else. Selling cakes and desserts is not really going to get me there at this rate. And personal chefing and catering is not it. So what do I do? So I was like, I tell you what, I want to do small events and dinner parties, right? And I was like, ooh. And I remember I was doing like dinners for twos, and I remember thinking like, this is a lot of work for 2 people. That's not really going to work either. So then I just decided one day, I'm not coming out the house unless I'm making $1,000. Like every gig that I do has to minimum make me $1,000. I'm just not going to do it. And that's when things started getting really fun. And then I got introduced to cooking classes, and I realized that I could make $1,000 plus in one class with a lot less work than I was making even doing a dinner party. And I was like, ooh. And it was scalable because I could add more people in. And then I remember I did my first online cooking class and I made like $500 before Instagram was even created. And I was just like, oh, I'm at home and I can make this kind of money. And like I was off to the races, right? So whether I had companies flying me across the country to do cooking demos, whether I had high profile clients, you know, booking me to do, you know, private dinners, you know, whether I had chefs coming into town who worked for other celebrities who were bringing me on to assist, like whether it was you working with brands and traveling with them to trade shows and different things and being paid really premium, I was like, oh, yeah, whatever I choose to do is going to be premium. And so once I decided that, and I saw why people wanted to book me, and I saw the things that I was doing differently in my business than other chefs and other foodpreneurs were doing, I was like, oh, I'm about to just live in this lane. And I've lived there ever since, right? And so my journey to a high-end culinary brand was really realizing that some of the structures that were in place just didn't work for me. And I made a decision that I was like, at that time, I was like, I'm not doing anything less than $1,000. Now that number has since gone up. But yeah, it was such an interesting journey. And when I decided that I was going to live like in the high-end area, like things got good, because for a while, y'all, like for a while, I was really discouraged. And I was just like, okay, like I paid all this money to go to culinary school. I quit my engineering career. I was doubting myself, like, was this the right decision? Did I mess up a good thing? Like, should I go back to engineering? I wavered in that for years, right? And I think it's because I hadn't decided where I wanted my brand to land and how much money I wanted to make. So, I just want to let you know, you can do the same thing. You don't have to be discouraged. You don't have to be burnt out. You don't have to work all the time. You don't have to be miserable. You don't have to be on the verge of quitting. You might just need a different format. You might need a different formula, might need a different template for what you're doing so that you can get compensated well and work less. And so now I work less than I did back then. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share today. I want to invite you to the High-End Culinary Brand Multi-Day Intensive. I'm super excited about it. If you go to highendculinarybrand.com, all of the details will be there for you to join us. If you've been watching this series, make sure you get caught up, right, so that you're ready for that experience. If this is your first video in this series, go back, watch all these videos, then go check out and see if the experience is for you. So in the meantime, join me in the Chefpreneur Society. If you go to chefevelyn.com/society, and you can sign up there, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. Now, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you never miss a new episode. And to see what I'm cooking up behind the scenes, make sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Chef Evelyn. That's all for today, and I'll see you next week. Peace.